soft, Like I'll be 100%. I'm a bro, not a shower. I don't care, bro. That's just how it is, right? But yeah, I was like mad, and it was like 15 minutes long. They were like looking at my shit for like 15 minutes, and I was just laying there like looking.
How much was there to inspect?
Not a lot. Yeah, it wasn't a lot. It wasn't. I mean, it was like Anyway, guys, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, welcome back to the Ayoo Chill podcast. It's great to be back. Little 2-week hiatus that we had. Just came back from Florida. We're chilling. But I have an amazing guest for you today. He is a filmographer extraordinaire, photographer extraordinaire. He's been on the podcast before. You know him. My boy, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are.
What's going on, guys? This is your boy Leo over here. He did a pretty good job at the introduction, but I'm a photographer, videographer, and video strategist. So I go ahead and I do different creative concepts for TikTok, Instagram, and I also make some stuff for different businesses in the area. That's kind of where I get my little bread and butter. But yeah, full-time creative. That's what I do.
Dude, and it's amazing to have you back. Since last time we spoke, which was about a year and some change ago, bro, a lot of changes in life.
Has it been that long, really?
Yeah, dude, it's been over a year now.
Holy.
Been over a year. I was just looking at the past, like all the podcasts that I've done before, kind of like reminiscing on like the last season, because now we're in season 3. You're on season 2. We go by years, and yeah, dude, it was about a year and some change ago now, and look how far it's come, dude.
How does it feel, man, being in season 3?
It's insane. I didn't know we'd get past season 1. I didn't even know there was gonna be seasons, but now, it's kind of just a celebration of life right now.
What a blessing.
A celebration, yeah, exactly. It's a blessing, and it's a blessing to have you back. It's a blessing to be back, and kind of just, I think we definitely needed this past 2 weeks to kind of just mentally reset, reboot, and it feels better than ever, dude. So, dude, enough of me talking, dude. This episode's about you. This is about what you've been into, man. Dude. All right. You know what? Usually I dictate what subjects we get into, but I kind of just wanted to get into the first thing that you feel that you just need to, boom, get off your chest first, and we'll kind of go from there.
Oh, man. All right. Let's think. So I guess biggest thing that's been like the biggest change in my career so far has been getting a studio. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're pretty familiar with what that's like now, like having the new podcast studio, which, by the way, it's friggin' amazing.
I appreciate it, dude.
Gave me the tour. It's sick.
Bro, much love.
It's amazing
much love,
seeing
bro.
like everything that you guys are going to be, doing here and accomplishing. So jumping in and getting a new studio, I mean, for me, the biggest thing was just upping my professionalism. You know what I mean? So I was operating out of my basement for the longest. I mean, even you've been in my basement.
I remember that. Yeah.
Little spot, low ceilings. Every time I had a booking, people would come down like, oh, am I going to get killed in here? Bro, it's like if I had $1 for every time somebody said that, I'd have like $57.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a considerable amount.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought, you know what? I don't know how exactly I'm going to pay for this, but it's going to be a big motivator to motivate me to do better in my career and get more clients and just like express my image. So I went on Facebook Marketplace and I found my studio. And I know it's so crazy. I didn't find it with a realtor or anything. Just straight up Facebook Marketplace. That's where I find everything.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Facebook Marketplace, because you be finding stuff on there too.
Yeah, that's the OG,
stuff that's not even
OG
up.
Zuckerberg, bro.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
He really did that.
So where's your studio located now? Like, it's
It's in Pequannock.
Pequannock, yes, it's in Pequannock. It's kind of like on that main street.
It's that little town that nobody's
Mm-hmm.
ever heard of, you know. So it's right next to Wayne, New Jersey, and it's pretty rocking. It's like living in the sticks, but nice little quiet spot. It's easy to get to, right off Route 23. So it's all I could really hope for.
So talk to me about the process of actually getting that space and how it is, moving in there. Like, what was the timeline like for that?
Oh man. So I found the space and I moved in from, I think it was like 3 weeks from the time that I actually like found the space. So initially I went into it with so it was me and 2 other people that went into the space. One of the people lasted, I want to say like a month or something like that. And then it was like, oh, I can't pay for this anymore. So then it was just stuck with just me and one other guy. And that was really tough.
Yeah.
It was really tough. Eventually, I ended up finding a third person again. That lasted a few months. Same thing. I can't do it. So now it's back to number 2 again. I guess like one thing that I would say is just to make sure that, whoever you go into like any of these like big ventures with, is just be 100% sure, you know, that that person is going to be 100% about it. They need to love it, and they need to be able to work for it and have that drive just as much as you do. Because if you don't, it's just better to do things on your own.
I feel that.
You know what I mean?
And do you feel like they ended up leaving? Was it more of like a monetary thing? Was it more of a passion thing? Do you think they just got excited too much at first and then lost interest after time after they realized the work that it takes to go in?
It must have been a monetary thing, I think,
Mm.
because both people are still, you know, creative. They're both still doing their own thing. But, you know, it's an investment. It's a
Yeah.
real investment in yourself. And, you know, if you're not able to make that investment, then it, it just, I don't really know how much further you can go into your career if you don't believe in yourself.
It's very
You
true.
know?
It's tough.
Like, you really need to believe in yourself. That's the biggest thing.
And so, what had happened from that point? So you lose your partner. I mean, dude, if I was in your position, I'd be shitting bricks. I'm not even gonna lie, because like then because you have to pick up the slack, then right?
100%. So, one thing that we hadn't done was like put our space up on Peerspace. So, when we actually did that, we realized, holy crap, like we're getting so many bookings. Like, this is dope as hell. Why haven't we done this? And the biggest thing was delegating tasks. So, you know, when you have a partnership on a space, you know, people should be handling different responsibilities equally,
Like,
you know, with that space. Like, for example, you know, promoting the space, right? Maybe handling the bookings, the people that are coming in. Like, someone has to come in and watch the people that are renting the space too, right? You don't want it to get trashed. Cleaning, bro.
yeah.
And you know how it is as a guy, bro. Well, I don't know. I don't know if like you're a really cleanly person. You probably are, right?
I'm extreme about it. I'm extreme about that shit, dude.
All right, so at home I'm usually not, but at the studio I'm anal, right? And whenever there's someone at the studio and they make a mess and it's not cleaned up, bro, I turn into a beast, bro.
Yeah.
I turn into a beast. Like, so that was one of the big things too, for sure. Is like actually making sure the space is kept clean and organized. There's just so many different little details and things to do, you know, when you
Yeah.
have a space.
Yeah, it's actually kind of what I'm kind of going through right now with like the space too.
Yeah.
So I think this may be the first time I've ever said this on a podcast, but my friends have heard me talk about it a lot. I love a clean bathroom, and I love I love the thought of I don't do it. I don't do it. I don't do it, but I love the thought of sleeping on my bathroom floor. Like I like the thought, like not that I do. I know this is weird. This might be really weird, all right? But I like the thought of being able to sleep on my bathroom floor because it's that clean. You know what I mean? That's how clean I like it.
So have you ever tested it? Have
I've
you ever slept on your bathroom floor?
I've never actually slept on my bathroom floor. Not on purpose. I wouldn't call it sleeping because I've had a drunk night where I'm throwing up in the bathroom
There
and
we
then I
go.
kind of pass out on the floor for like a good hour or something. I wake up and I'm like, oh shit, you know, and you wake
If you
up.
haven't
and you're
passed
like,
out in the bathroom,
yeah.
like have you really
Yeah.
had a good time?
Yeah, and then imagine waking up being that drunk and stuff,
Mhm.
and then you're just looking at like pubes on the floor and like dirtiness and like soap scum. Like that's
That's
disgusting.
crusty.
Yeah, it's crusty. You know what I mean? And
That's crusty.
that's what I don't want. It's actually funny. I'm actually like right after we're done with this, I'm actually gonna be doing a whole deep clean of our bathroom now too.
There you
Because
go.
I told them I was
Little
like,
scrubbing bubbles.
and it's hard. Like keeping the who brooms, who vacuums. You know, actually our plan for here is just to buy a robot. One of the robot. I actually got I have a robot for my house that I spent bread on. You know, best decision of my life. If you're thinking about a Roomba or you're thinking about like spending money on like a cleaning machine, I 100% never has made my life easier. Floors always swept, always looks
You gotta
gorgeous.
get that.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I mean, their bread. I'm not gonna lie. Like I spent like $550 on like mine because it comes with the whole vacuum tower too, empties itself out, cleans itself up, you know what I mean? But it was 100% worth it. It maps out the whole room, tells you exactly like what, it cleans and shit. And then all you need to do is mop. Some of them do come with a mopping attachment, but nah, I'd rather do the mop manually. I just hate sweeping. So yeah, dude, definitely. It's hard to delegate that shit, but I definitely get that. So you lose your part, and then all the delegation goes to you, then, right? So you're talking about putting your stuff up on what the
On Peerspace.
Pure Space.
So it's only me and one other guy now, right? And we ended up deciding, after going through two people, we're like, you know what? It's more hassle than it's worth, like having like different keys and like having to like, get them back and stuff. So let's just keep it with just us two. But yeah, we ended up putting it on Peerspace, and we actually we tried to find a studio manager as well, and we found the perfect girl. Great, she did an interview. It was excellent. She was all about it, ready to like promote the space, make an Instagram, like do everything that she's supposed to do, right? So a week later, she ends up calling us back and saying, "Yeah, uh, I just got my dream job, so
Oh,
I can't do this."
good for her, but
Yeah, it's great, great,
yeah, good.
good for you.
Oh.
Good for. Listen, if you're watching this, that's great news. I'm happy for you, but I'm not happy for myself. So,
Oh man.
anyways, yeah. So,
Yeah.
your boy has been basically there on his own,
Mm-hmm.
with the different bookings and stuff. So, every Saturday or Friday, I'm there, just kind of getting some work done. And it wasn't always that nice actually, because we were living like cavemen for like, I want to say like a good 5 months because we didn't have Wi-Fi there.
Oh yeah. So how was that transition? Because like I said, so you had your partners leave, right? The people you had originally in the space. So what was the buffer time with you, like actually getting to a point? Because I imagine when your partners left, now you're picking up all the slack, you're picking up all the delegation, right? So how many months was it, or how much time passed in between to where you were like, I could do this on my own?
See, it's nice that you're assuming that I've reached that point where I can do this on my own.
Well, I mean, you're doing it now, no?
Yeah, I am. But it's always a work in progress. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? I don't think I'm ever really truly gonna be comfortable enough to the point where it's like, yeah, I could handle this on my own, whatever. Until I'm making probably like double like what I'm doing right now. And we're getting there. You know, going through like networking events and like meeting a whole bunch of other people. But yeah, I just don't see myself really at that point until like maybe like another 3 or 4 months from now. Then I think I'll be good. But we only signed a 1 year lease on the
Hmm.
studio, so that's pretty much going to be up in August. And when it's up, I still don't know if I'm going to stay there or if I'm going to try to find another spot.
Word.
I have no idea.
Word. Well, I mean, like, so I guess more of my question was directed towards is, so when all your from now where you're at right now to when your partners left, how much time was that? So when you started the lease until when everybody left, how into the lease were you?
Okay, so lease started in August of last year. We lost person number one in September, and we gained another person at the end of September, and we lost that person in January. So from since January, what's that been? I guess 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been about three
Hmm.
months.
Awesome. And then you've
Hmm.
just been doing it yourself.
Yeah, me
That's
and
dope.
me and one other guy. Yeah.
One guy. All right, cool, dope. So
Mhm.
now you have your own studio. So what kind of work do you be doing in your studio now, comparative to like what you weren't able to do before?
Oh man, it's crazy how much I was really able to do in my basement
Yeah.
because I realize now that I was able to do about 90% of the stuff that I was doing in my basement, and I didn't have to worry about rent. But that extra 10%, I don't think it really limited me in the department of actually creation. I
Hmm.
think it limited me more in perception, right? So it allowed me to gain bigger clients and to seem more professional and to then get those bigger gigs. I think that's what the studio really benefited me in. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think I'm a lot more comfortable now actually doing stuff in studio versus before I got to studio. A lot of the photo shoots that I was doing, as you know, were outside.
Yeah.
So I was getting into a lot of creative stuff outside. And I feel like, I'm not gonna lie, my creativity has kind of taken a bit of a back seat since I got my studio. It's just a lot easier for me to actually like go to a different destination and like have this dope background. Going to the city or going to like an abandoned building. You can't really do that in the studio, can you? You can just maybe be creative with like lighting and you can like try to buy different backdrops, which I recently did, and like I think that was pretty dope actually. I did a lingerie shoot pretty recently where uh, the set design it was like uh, it was like upper class, like upscale, with like the French borders and stuff on the walls, the nice chase lounge sofa, like a nice white blanket there. And that's something I wasn't actually going to be able to do in my basement. So I guess there is an example of something that I was able to do now, uh, and it's definitely one of my best work, I think, as far as studio stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because your work has definitely been like leveling up ever since.
Thanks, man.
Especially what you've been posting up to.
Appreciate that,
Yeah,
man.
dude.
Yeah.
I think it's actually interesting to see, and actually, I think it's one of the things you actually talked to me about too, about kind of just not caring what you post up. I know, like, I both of us have the problem of kind of being very judgmental of what we
Yes.
put out and wanting it to be like 100%, and like wanting it to be our best work and not being viewed as lesser.
Yes.
And it's maybe not even like a thing of like being viewed as lesser, but it's just kind of hard to kind of post up stuff and then like sometimes if it doesn't get as many likes, it's like, what did I do wrong? Or like, maybe it's I feel like nothing's ever perfect, but can you go into that a little bit? Have you kind of like changed your mind a little bit and been more comfortable just be like,
Oh
fuck it, I'm
yeah,
gonna put
hundred
this
percent,
out?
bro. I'll go ahead and post some bullshit now. Like I
Yeah,
don't,
that's great.
dude. Like it is what it is. I think the most important thing now is to just show off your personality, and that's something that I've been preaching to all of my creative friends. You don't have to really stress out about producing the most perfect work and like showing it out, to the world. That's not really what's important. If you want to get booked, right? 9 times out of 10, they'll choose you over the other guy of comparable skill, maybe someone who has more skill than you do, just because you're a pleasure to work with. And if you can show that you have a great personality to your audience on Instagram or any kind of like social media platform, people are gonna be more inclined to work with you. And I'm sure you know that, especially running a podcast, how important it is to have a good personality because that directly correlates with how many people want to actually be on your podcast and be interviewed by you, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like you hit it right on the
Yeah.
head, man. Showing who you are is, I think, the biggest thing. It's even some things I tell, like, some of the people that I work with too and friends too. Like at the end of the day, like you could put out what you could think is bullshit, but number one, when it comes to social media, you never know what's gonna hit. You never know what's gonna hit. I've had things. I've talked about it on the podcast before, where I social media consult this one priest, right?
A priest.
A priest, yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah. And like, I give him consultations on like how to, outreach with his ministry and how to get more people. Evangelism is the process of, converting people into your religion, right? And I'm not even the most religious person and he knows that as well. But I just give him tips and stuff and he'll talk about like, like stuff about God on TikTok. I'm like, yo, just put out, you never know what's gonna hit. What ended up hitting for him,
Right, bro. Godly in the streets, devilish in the sheets,
dude.
bro.
I hope he doesn't listen. He's gonna listen to this and like, I don't know, but yeah, what ended up hitting for him, because I'll tell you what, one thing that this guy does, and I'm super inspired by him. He's older too. I think he's after his late 60s. You know what I mean? So he's up there. I don't know, but he's older. He's an older gentleman, and he doesn't know. I've taught him everything. I've taught him how to use TikTok, taught him how to use Instagram. Like that's mainly what our consulting was at first. He would post up all these things on TikTok, him just out, if he was on vacation. He ended up being in the LaGuardia airport. And there's this new fountain in the LaGuardia airport that it's like a ceiling fountain and it drops water and it's able to time the water how it drops to spell things in the water, right? So he took a video of that and it was so poorly recorded. Like literally, like you hear him, he's like, "Look, it's the LaGuardia airport," and then it ends and then it replays, right? You're laughing, right? 1.5 million hits
Get out of
on
here.
TikTok.
How?
1.5 million hits on TikTok. About, I think it was like 500,000 likes. I think it was like maybe 10K plus reshares.
See that?
And it's because this guy posts like 4 or 5 times a day and he will just post what he likes, and then like from around that, he got like a bunch of followers and like, and now like, he just has it's not like he has a big following or anything, but that's literally all it took. It wasn't recorded well. The camera was shaky, it didn't even finish like what he was recording, didn't even finish it. 1.5.
That's
Just
how
like that.
important it is, man. That's how important it is to really put your stuff out on TikTok and be consistent with it. And the quality doesn't have to be consistent. You're so right. You hit the nail on the head with that. It's like my first video that went viral on TikTok for the barbershop, which
Uh-huh.
was like my main client, I think, that we spoke about on the last podcast. And that video went viral, and I posted it to my page. And I'm not gonna lie, I think they were kind of upset that, my it went viral on my page and it didn't go viral on theirs. But that I shot it with my phone, and I was thinking, you know, whatever, I'll just post it. I don't think it's gonna do that well. Who cares, right? I wake up the next morning, 500 likes. I'm like, damn, that's pretty good. Refresh, 700 likes. Refresh, 1,200 likes. Refresh, 3,000. Bro, and it's just going up, 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 and up. And I'm like calling everybody. I'm like, yo, your boy is going viral. And it's crazy. That one video, even though it wasn't well produced, right? I mean, it was well produced. Come on, it's your boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I shot this with like this super $6,000, camera or whatever. I shot this with an iPhone, and the amount of doors that this opened up, the amount of people that reached out to me that I was able to connect with just off of this video, it's literally insane. It's insane how these platforms give creators like just these opportunities to really just blow up and change their lives. And I'm always going to be grateful to TikTok. I'm going to be grateful to Instagram. So many people, they shit on social media, but even though there's so many bad things about social media, and I'm currently going through a social media detox, I don't think I would really be here where I am to this day if it weren't for social media.
That's an incredible sentence right there. It's an incredible sentence because it shows you how deep this is enveloped into our lives, into business. You can't run a business today if you're not on social media. You can't.
100%.
And the doors it opens, the networking that opens up for you when people see you and see that you're passionate about something, and especially if you're showing your personality through it as well, like you were saying before, so important, dude. And I'm so glad that, because I remember when we were talking right after our first podcast, I think we were kind of like a little bit like different minded on like certain things, on like, like, because even I remember you were telling me like you wanted to upgrade like, your studio stuff, and to a certain extent like I actually now vibe with what you were saying before, because I think what we were kind of having a discussion on and kind of seeing differently, because you were just like, oh, like you need the best products or the best equipment to get the best clientele. And then I was kind of saying, I was like, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think you could also make work what you have, because some people don't have a lot, but they're still able to do a lot. But I think right now it's kind of like the mixture of between now, because like I said, like, listen, trapping from Willie P. Yeah,
bro.
for sure. Because trapping out of Willie P for the podcast, that was great, for what it was, and I was able to build. And if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be here. But now that I have my own studio space, now that you have your own studio space, the game has completely changed and has opened so many more doors. But it's funny how when you go back to your roots, you film something on an iPhone, and comparative to your DSLR that you have and all the cool stuff you have on it, the camera and everything, bro, I peeped that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man,
And then
baby.
you're like, oh, I made this and I can make crazy stuff with that. But then what hits is what's on the iPhone. That's a testament. That's a testament, bro. It's a testament to the power of social media and what blows up and what doesn't. It's fucking beautiful, bro. It's beautiful.
It's literally insane how you can spend 10 minutes editing a video and an hour editing another one, and the one that you edited in like 10 minutes gets exponentially more likes, exponentially more shares, and does so much more for you and your brand and your business. It's just consistency, man. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I learned since the last time, where I was so focused, so hyper focused on it, how much gear and like, what I needed to show as far as like the perception and like the end product. Like, no, man. Like, it's all about personality. And once I embraced that and I was able to like put my face on social media and not care as much anymore about, how goofy I look, and I guess like what some of my potential clients might see from me, because they're going to see it from me regardless. Once they book me,
Yeah.
they're going to see who I am. So why not show them who I am before, and maybe attract the people that really like that?
Yeah, no, that's a perfect point. That's a perfect point. It's weird. Social media always has that. It's been a very up and down kind of journey through it, you know? Because me personally, I don't like sharing my life, you know? And it's weird. I don't like sharing my personality on TikTok, on Instagram. Well, before, especially beforehand, because I'm like scared of judgment, scared of what people might say. You know what I mean? There's always gonna be haters, and I kind of like. I think just learning through it. If you're gonna get into this industry, you have to get thick skin. You have to learn how to deal with that, because regardless of what you put out, people are always gonna hate. You could put the most incredible thing out. You could be putting stuff out for world peace, and someone will also just be like, "Fuck your world peace." You know what I mean? They'll comment, "Go kill yourself." And if you know, emotionally as humans, we have our up and downs. And God forbid, you know, you're on your down, you see that, and then it brings you even lower. When you have to understand, dude, literally anybody could talk shit off of social media. Anybody could talk shit. It's easy to build a persona off on social media, you know? It has its up and downs, but you got to just see it for the good, you know? And build and build and build. So, talk to me a little bit about the opportunities that have come from here. Because since the last time you were on, dude, since the last time you were on, oh my God, it's just been an explosion of things. Talk to me a little about like what you've been doing recently, anything maybe that you want to share, the cool projects that you've been doing.
Man, well, I've been on my longest project to date, and that's this international documentary that I've been working on.
Yes, talk to me about
Yes.
that. Talk to me about
So
that.
basically, the documentary, for those who don't know about it, it's basically chronicling the successes and the struggles of young first generation Africans in careers outside of STEM. So creative fields like music, art, fashion, athletics, you know, anything that's not, you must be an engineer or a mathematician or a doctor, you know, anything that's not like that, you know? And that took me to France, which was an absolutely amazing experience. It almost took me to London. However, due to COVID and everything that was going on, and, you know, making a freaking international documentary during a pandemic,
Yeah, dude.
like, what? You know what I mean? And it's just insane, like, how much we've had to deal with just to produce this, and why it's even still in development right now, even though we're nearing completion. This has been in the making now for like, I want to say like 2 years, 2.5 years.
So talk to me about how it started, how'd you got into this, who runs this.
So it all got started from my girl Suzanne Barry. Got a name drop her there in this documentary. It's called Les Choisis, meaning the chosen in French. So she reached out to me because she needed a videographer. She needs someone that she could trust in order to actually, like, you know, do their job correctly, and, you know, someone who was basically just down to travel, and, you know, someone who was also going to have that same passion that she had. So she reached out to me, and she was a friend of a friend, and we crunched the numbers. We found out, okay, this is how much we're going to need to make this documentary. So the first thing that we did is we made a Kickstarter campaign. So I had her fly in. Well, she flew in from Texas, where she's living now. She flew in, and we crafted this little campaign video, and that campaign video raised $10,000.
Sweet.
Yes, so that covered our flight. It covered, you know, my fee to actually create it. So we took that, and then we started looking for, you know, tickets. And yeah, I mean, damn, it was such an amazing experience. It's the first time that I've ever been in Europe, right? Because I like to travel. I've been to Canada. I've been like to South America, like the Caribbean, like all these kind of like more like local, like within these continents. But flying across the pond to Europe was just an experience that I would not trade, you know, for the world. You know, the people that I met over there, just amazing people. You know, I'm sure some of these people are going to be watching this. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I'm so glad that I was able to meet you guys, and, you know, I was able to immerse myself in the culture. It's just so different over there, man.
How so?
The people there are they're so nice, and they say so many things about the French, where they're rude to Americans. They're really not. You know, there's some really dope people. You just got to really come in there and respect their culture and not act like an entitled American. You know, that's the biggest thing. But that's anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere you travel, as long as you kind of like you get off your high horse and you just like live like a local, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, good energies attract. Good energies attract. So what was like the pitch of this documentary? Like so what was like so if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, it's about like being the upbringing of being a creator. So like
Yes,
so it's called The Chosen One. And you said how do you say
yes.
that in French?
Les choisis.
Le Choisi. Okay. So what's the premise of it?
So a lot of these first generation Africans and first generation Latinos and first
Hmm.
generation anyone,
Yeah.
you know, they're coming into this world, with the idea, hammered into their heads that they need to be a doctor or an engineer or something to be successful in life, right? They're not encouraged to be creative. At least the vast majority of them aren't,
Hmm.
and it's understandable, right?
Yeah, for
If
sure.
if your parent comes from, like a third world country, um, and they make all of the sacrifice to bring you to somewhere, like a rich country, like let's say like the United States or United Kingdom or Germany, like any one of those countries, right? Um, they're gonna expect you to make the best of it. They're not really gonna believe that you can make a career out of being creative or doing something, in athletics. So this is basically just showing those those kids that you can do it. You really can do it. You don't need to listen to your parents. Just if you believe in yourself and you have the drive to succeed, be creative. Just do what you want to do. And this is also meant to actually to be watched by those same parents as well. It's going to be a source of inspiration for the children and the parents. And that's basically the entire purpose of this documentary.
That's really dope because I imagine a lot of people have trouble, you know, especially going into a creative field, going into photography, going into filmography, even going into music, podcasting, whatever. It's a tough field. It,
100%.
it's not easy, and to have it sucks. A lot of people base their decisions off of what their parents want and not necessarily what they want,
Yes.
and that first generation
Yes.
type of pressure to do better than what
Yes.
your parents have left, and especially going into a world where they don't understand. I feel like more recently I've started to understand that about the struggle of my parents as well. Like I'm first generation. Well, my parents, yeah, I'm first generation to my parents.
Yeah, me too.
And they come from Peru, the slums. They grew up with nothing. It's actually funny. My dad was telling a story, and he was like, "Yeah." So he was like, "I was studying for this exam, and I had to go to the store to buy another candle because I couldn't read my notes." And I was like, "Yo, wait a second. What you mean? Just turn on the light switch." And he's just like, "There
My
weren't no
boy's studying
lights."
by candlelight,
I
bro.
know, bro.
That's
I was like, damn. I was like,
wow.
all right, 1776, bro. They want their candles back. Like,
Hey,
damn.
yo.
It was crazy. It's crazy to think. And
Damn.
like, we come here into this country, and I'm so blind, not necessarily blind because I appreciate all their sacrifices now, obviously learning it more. And as you get older, you start learning like everything like, they didn't have and how they got here. And it really opens your eyes and like really like, my parents weren't musicians. I went to school for music. I went to school for sound engineering. They didn't know shit about
And were
this.
your parents supportive?
Weirdly enough, my mom was always supportive. My dad, somewhat supportive, but only when he saw results. I could only
Right.
imagine. I mean, I'm lucky enough, and I'm not here to boast or anything, like nothing like that. Because as a musician, I'm decent. I'm decent. I hold my own.
Mm-hmm.
Because I played the euphonium, getting into everything.
Right.
So it was like when they saw like I got into my first honors band and I placed like in a high ranking, they were like, okay. This makes sense. This seems like a good investment. But I could only imagine for anybody else who's like still trying to figure it out. Cause I honestly think I just got lucky.
Yeah.
My passion was there. And I think my passion was there so hard when I first got into it that there was no way that I couldn't at least be decent, Cause I was practicing every day. I was reading every day. I was doing everything I needed to do catch up. Because I started this when I was like 13, and comparative to other people who've been playing musicians, reading music since they were like born, you know what I mean? I didn't compare, but I put in the work, and I think it was literally just my passion for it, that determination, that passion to keep driving and pushing forward.
That's right.
Because
You need it.
yeah, it won't happen that way all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you also have to accept it might not turn exactly how you plan it either. I was supposed to be a music teacher, you know. That's what I went to school for first, and you know, I had my heart set on it. Then like my first year into like going into teaching thing, I found out about sound engineering, and I was like, damn. And then you know, got into that, and you know, we got the mics up, we learned that, and I thought I was going to be a mixing engineer and making music every single day and recording people's music, and I still have a huge passion for that. Don't get me wrong, but then I started getting really into photography, really into making videos, and I've always been that way since I was little. And then I was like, damn, now I kind of mixed the whole two worlds here.
Artists just continually develop.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole core of being an artist. You know, it's creativity. And what does creativity inspire? It inspires things that are new. You know, it's like a mutation of like old concepts and new concepts, and that's the beauty about being an artist. You know, is that you can take something and just turn it into something completely different.
Yeah.
You know, you can take one interest and like morph it into something completely different as well. You know, mix them all up together and just become the best artist that you can be. And I think that's, you know, where we're both at right now.
Yeah.
For sure.
So when does this documentary come out? When can we expect it?
Boy. All right.
Like,
so
is there any dates?
dude,
you know?
this thing has been pushed back and back and back because of just editing, man. Like, anytime I would see these documentaries like posted up on Netflix or, you know, on HBO or, you know, whatever, just documentaries in general, I would see, oh, this documentary was like 8 years in the making. I'm like, 8 years in the I'm like, what are these people doing all day? Like, just getting high? Like, are they working on this damn documentary?
Yeah.
And it's not even like that. Like, this documentary, I thought it was going to take maybe like a year. And we're already 2.5 years in. And it's like, yeah, you know, granted, we're almost done. But, you know, it's just incredible how long something like this takes, especially when, you know, you've never done it before. I imagine that it gets easier the more documentaries that you make, the more you do it. But man, this should come out. This should come out in about 2 months.
2 months?
It should.
And what platforms is it coming out on?
So it's gonna be in a film festival. You know, I'm not really sure which one yet, because we were supposed to have it in Cannes. However, it's something that I'm gonna have to speak to the journalist about. You know, to really figure out where it's gonna be airing, but at the very least, it's going to be on streaming platforms.
And can you tell me like the team? So what's the team like? How many people are working on this project?
It's just me and her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So like, you let me know when the film festival is, bro. I'll be there front row seat, bro, supporting you, man. For sure.
Bro. 100%.
For sure, man.
Thank you.
That's great. I can't wait till it comes out then, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anything left to film, or is it kind of now just post-production?
It's literally just post-production.
Post-production.
Yeah. And we're continually, you know, testing different concepts. You know, every time we see like a new documentary on Netflix, we're like, oh, you know, that looks kind of cool. Let's kind of add that into our documentary. So that's why it's a continuous work in progress. You know, like the scope has been, you know, redefined multiple times, and I think that's why it's still in production. Yeah.
So throughout all of this, so what are you expecting? What is your, I guess, desired outcome from this? Or is it kind of one of those things that you just
I just want to get this thing done, baby.
That's
it, bro. Like it's just been,
I got you.
It's been so long, man.
So long.
Like,
It's tough. It's tough.
I just want to have it done. I want to be able to air it. You know, even if nothing comes from it, which I'm sure things will come from it, even if nothing comes from it, I'm still happy that I did it because it was this amazing opportunity and experience where I really grew as a person. You know, it's the team. Like we grew as people in general. And I think that's the best possible outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So despite that, you know, despite the documentary, there's been a few other things that I've been working on.
Word, tell me. Go ahead.
Most recently being this Foot Locker shoot that I did.
Dude, that was great. All right, yeah.
Go ahead, there's this company based out of Morristown called Strix Media, and they're a pretty well-known production company now, and they reached out to me, I want to say, maybe about 6 months ago, right, for a shoot. They saw my work on Instagram, and they're like, hey, like, you know, we like you, like, let's have you come in and see, like, you know, what you can do, like, with us. So that's how that business relationship started. And then I get a call, right, from Dan, right? He's one of the owners of the production company. He's like, hey, man, are you going to be available on, like, this Saturday at so and so time. I think I had like a shoot booked that day, and I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, what am I doing? He just laughs and he's like, you're gonna be shooting for Foot Locker and Puma.
That's great, dude.
I'm like, hell yeah, son.
Hell
Yo,
yeah.
sign me up, Scotty. So I signed up, and I'm just completely honored that I was able to, contribute to that campaign. So I went in, with a whole team of people. And yeah, I was the photographer, man. I was shooting like autistic models to promote this new shoe drop that is promoting autism awareness and acceptance.
Word.
So yeah, those photos, it was already posted on like a Forbes article and stuff, and like Yahoo, and it's gonna be used by like Foot Locker and Champs on like social media and ads and stuff. So if you see anything with that shoe, you're gonna know.
Boy,
it was your
did
boy.
it. Hell yeah, dude. That's exciting. So how was it like working in that environment? Did it feel like new working with those type of people? Like, what was the difference?
It was
anything new?
it was high stress.
High
it
stress,
was.
okay.
Only because, I'm used to working with people who aren't traditional models, but then I've also worked with actual models. And this was a lot like working with, people who weren't really traditional models. But then you also kind of had to adjust your technique of like guiding them, right? So I couldn't touch them. I couldn't really like, position them the way that I wanted to. So a lot of it was mimicry. Like I had to go ahead and like do the poses for them, which is something I'm already used to doing, but I had to be a lot more patient. Because, especially with some of the models specifically, the majority of their time slot was just like waiting and waiting and waiting, trying different things. Then finally you get like one usable shot. You know what I mean? And that shoot was like 8 hours long, man. So by the 6th hour, I was beat. Like I was just like, when is this going to be done? Like I'm tired, like I need a break, and there's no breaks, man. Like this is Foot Locker. This is Puma. Like this is a real deal thing. And we actually shot this over here in Boonton, actually at a studio over here.
Word. That's
Yeah.
sick. Oh, so it wasn't even at like a Foot Locker.
No. This was another studio that we ended up like booking the time for
Word.
to actually use it, 'cause it was a nice large space that could accommodate, the models and the parents. And man, it was hard, bro. It was hard, but it was worth it.
Do you feel like it's like the most difficult thing you've worked on up to date?
In such a short amount of time, I think so. I think it was the most difficult photo shoot that I've done. Like in terms of actually like dealing with the people, it was definitely the most difficult. Yeah. As for like the creative part of it, it wasn't so difficult just because, I had the whole like team, to back me up. And it was really like a large collaborative effort to really, make these images the best that they could possibly be. So that part of it was good.
Word. And how did you feel like after the whole shoot? Did it come out like how you want? Were your clients
100%.
satisfied?
100%.
Sick.
Yeah. I can't show you the photos yet.
Word.
Just because I think they should actually be releasing like pretty soon. What's today?
Today is, let me see here. Sorry, it's the 11th.
2 days.
2 days.
Actually, 2
Okay,
days
cool.
it's going to go live. So those photos are actually going to be up, and I'm going to be able to see them like there.
And you're going to be
as
able to
well.
share them on your Instagram and
Hell yeah,
everything too?
man.
That'd be sick.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be sick, dude. I'm so happy for you, dude. That's crazy. So, you didn't even know that you were going to shoot for them specifically before you got the call.
No way.
So who was the guy who gave you the job then?
Dan from
Dan.
Strix Media. So
Okay.
basically, it's a large production company based out of Northern J in Morristown. So and they get these like pretty like large gigs with like different companies and stuff. So this was actually their first one of, I think, this size actually with such a large international company. And they knew that, with my track record working with different models and, my energy and stuff, they knew that I guess I would be the right choice to work with these models specifically to make this happen.
Word, dude. That's incredible, dude. So now moving forward, like, is that now a link now that you're going to be able to like, so what was it? So did they just hire you for this one job, or do you feel like now you kind of have like a little repertoire with them now?
Oh yeah, the repertoire has been there, right?
Word.
Because it wouldn't have been, this wouldn't have happened if that rep wasn't there already. You know what I mean? Like if you've only done 1 or 2 jobs with someone, like, are you really going to be able to trust them to like handle something like this, like at this like grand scale? So yeah, no, it's already been there, and they're great people. They're phenomenal. There's also other creatives, like around my age that also like do different work for them. So I mean, if you're a young creative, a young photographer, videographer, in this area, I would definitely reach out to them because they could show you a lot. You know.
Yeah, and do me a real quick favor, real quick. I'm gonna ask you a question, and just the camera, I think it just heated up, overheated, and it probably lost some footage. I'm gonna go ahead and fix that real quick. I know. I feel the same way. It hasn't happened to me in the studio yet, and you already know how I feel about keeping the footage raw and stuff, or keeping everything raw. So I'm gonna just take a second, real quick, and
Go ahead,
fix
bro.
that.
Yeah, you got it, bro.
Don't mind me.
Yo, this is like a repeat of the last time, man.
I know, this is weird, dude. It like barely ever happens to me, bro. Barely ever happens to me. But I guess today we're a little bit unlucky. Let's see where we're at.
Oh man.
Only happens on the best of podcasts, bro. Especially the ones I get the most excited for. And I'll actually do ourselves a favor real quick. I'll open up the window so it doesn't get as hot in here, I guess.
Oh yeah. Let's get it, baby. It's all right.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. This is the problem with the Ayoo Show podcast because I like to keep it raw.
You need a
I like
cinema
to keep
camera,
it like,
man. You need a camera with a built-in fan.
I think that's the next upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the what I was thinking about before was just like getting. I think they have what's called a ghost battery, a fake battery. I forget what it's called.
A dummy battery.
A dummy battery. There you go. A dummy battery.
It takes the heat away from the actual
from the
battery
actual
compartment.
camera. Yeah, and I've run into this problem like maybe like one time while on a shoot, which sucked.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, damn, like what am I gonna tell my client when I'm
Right.
recording? But it happens, and if it happens again, we'll kind of roll with it or whatever. I think it literally was during your Foot Locker spiel though, which sucks, but we'll figure it out, dude. Anyway, kind of getting back into business. Awkward. It's weird, kind of transitioning back because you get into it, then you get out of it, then you're getting back in. We were talking about the Foot Locker thing. Your experience now after we're talking about the repertoire with it and everything. So now, where's your head? Because I felt like that was a really big step. Not necessarily a big step, but it was kind of a cool thing that happened in your career.
It was
so far.
It's huge, especially because the last thing that I did was with Echo Unlimited, which was back in 2018. That's 4 years ago. The last time that I really worked with an international brand like that. So doing this was really it was an awakening that really inspired me to say, okay, we're back on track, and this is what I need to be doing more of. I know that I'm on the right track, and that I just need to keep doing what I'm doing, and we're gonna get where we gotta go. We're gonna get our dreams made.
So where's your goal and mindset right now to like, what does moving forward mean for you?
Moving forward for me would be just getting bigger, like gaining more notoriety. I want everyone to know who I am. I want everyone in Jersey to be like, oh yeah, you know that Leo guy, the videographer? Oh yeah, I know him. That's where I'm trying to get to, because I know that once everyone knows me, the opportunities are just gonna come flowing in like floodgates. You know what I mean? Because it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you.
It's very true. Very true. How did you get to that mindset?
It's just development, man. Just a lot of reading, a lot of just watching YouTube videos and seeing these different creators and stuff that I like to watch, and just compiling like all these different ideas and concepts, and just testing different strategies to to gain following, to network. And that's eventually the realization that I came to, that you just need to introduce yourself to as many people as you can, just so that they know who you are and what you do. That's why I like posting so much on social media and Instagram and TikTok, because you never know when the next video is going to go viral, and then boom, crap ton more people know you. I realize that every time that I kind of take a hiatus from posting, so does my work. Like, I have stagnant, like I don't have calls coming in, so every time I post something, I always have at least 2 bookings that come from it. So if I could just be more consistent with it, that's the goal. That's the goal. So I'm looking for an editor. I'm looking to hire more people, just because I've gotten to the point now, and I think I was at this point in the last podcast where I don't have enough time, right, to do everything that I got to do, and then I was looking to like hire more people on, but now it's really true. Like I'm actually in the process now. I think I have to do like 3 promotional videos that I have to like deliver by like next week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here doing a podcast like, no, this is dope, bro. But like, yo, like your boy is busy, man.
Yeah,
So,
dude.
I'm just trying to see if I can outsource that. So hey, if anyone's watching this, if you're an editor and you're trying to build and grow as a creator, hit me up, hit up my line, because I can use you. I can definitely use you.
Yeah, dude. So now it's great kind of being in that place where you almost have too much work, you know? Do you feel like it's also like fulfilling your financial goals as well, like getting towards it?
100%. That's why I'm on the road to becoming comfortable with the expenses, with the studio
Mm-hmm.
and the bills and the equipment costs and stuff. I'm on a timeline. Like I can see the growth. I'm just not there yet, but I can see the growth, and I know that eventually, I will get there, and things are just gonna open up, man. You just got to stay positive.
What do you feel like is the biggest difference now in what you're doing now than the last time you were on the podcast?
The last time I was on the podcast, I didn't know my worth,
Mm. Mm. Mm.
but now I'm becoming a lot more familiar with, what my worth is, and what I can do for my clients, and the people that I surround myself with,
How did you get to the point where you knew what your worth was?
That's a really good question. Continued self-help development and books and stuff like that. I think that's what really kind of like opens your eyes, and seeing like how much you can really do for other people and how much they can benefit off of just like one video. So before, my pricing was basically just based on my time, but now it's based on the value that it provides.
It's key.
Yeah.
It's key.
Once you transition over from, pricing your time to the value that you create for your client, it's just exponential, my guy. Like I'm not as busy. I can enjoy my life a little bit more now. And I think I've gotten so used to that now I don't want to go back to how I was, where I was just like editing all the time and just like busting my butt, editing videos and making videos all the time. And I'm pretty much making as much as I was doing back then, doing half the work.
That's important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's important. I think the whole value thing is a hard concept to grasp, especially as a young entrepreneur who's getting their shoes into this whole mix. I realized not that everybody wants to take advantage, but if they can, they will, And it's not necessarily, especially as an entrepreneur, setting your prices and everything. If you set the bar low, I mean, are they going to argue?
Hell no, they're not gonna argue. They're gonna be like, "Yeah, bring that ass here,
Yeah,
boy."
yeah, bring that ass here, boy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like
exactly.
it's just not cool, man. But I get it, right? There's so many people that made their millions, they made their fortunes off the back of people that that they exploited, right? I want to break that trend. Like I want everyone to earn what they're worth. I want everyone to earn the value that they believe that they should get. As long as the work matches, you feel me? Like, yeah, some people just have to learn that, what they're making isn't really worth what they're charging. But there's so many more people that they're providing so much more value than what they're being compensated for.
For sure. For sure.
And if anyone wants to kind of like open their eyes and like awaken themselves to that potential, like I'm 100% there, to show them, how much they could be doing. Like I love talking to young creatives and entrepreneurs and really like helping them grow, just because the the more people that are knowledgeable about, you know, what they can earn, you know, and the potential that they have in this industry, you know, the less people actually get exploited, and that's the biggest thing. Like the more people that are getting exploited, the worse it is for this industry. So if I could do my part to just help these people, it's just gonna help everyone. It's gonna help me. It's just gonna make the world a better place. You know what I mean? That's artists in general.
So, what advice do you have for an entrepreneur, an artist who's similarly in your field to pricing out their work starting out?
So I don't know if everyone's gonna agree with me on this, but
That's why we're here.
at the very least, right? What I was doing, and I was pricing out what it would cost to rent the equipment that I bring to the shoot, right? So let's say if I'm bringing like a few, like two cameras and like some lights and stuff, let's say that would cost $600 to rent for the day, right? Then I need to charge at least that much. You know what I mean? But then ideally, what you should be doing is charging that, and then on top of that, charging for your time. And then once you reach that, then you can start charging based on, all right, how much value is this going to bring the client? I mean, you could start with that, but if you just want like a foolproof way to learn how to price your services, at least just start it with like the cost of what it would cost that client to actually like rent the stuff and do it themselves.
Do you have
Anything less than that is just, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Then they're just getting equipment for free, like less than, and like, what the hell is that?
yeah?
You know?
Do you have any opinion on charging hourly?
Hell no. Just hell no. That's just doing a complete disservice to yourself. That penalizes. Okay. My big thing about doing stuff hourly is that it penalizes you for being a better worker. So let's say you're this fire editor, right? And you can bang out this ad in like 5 hours. Then you're only getting 5 hours worth of money. Versus, let's say it's someone who's not as experienced, right? And maybe they take 10 hours to do that ad. And then do they deserve to make more? No. They don't deserve to make more. If anything, it should actually cost more to hire that person who did it quicker. Because what do you place the value on? Do you place the value on how long it took as a client? Do you place the value on how long it took to create the stuff? Or actually just getting it in a timely manner, right? Like, I would prefer to get something in a timely manner. I'd rather hire the person who's going to take 2 hours to do it, and I'll pay them just as much as the person who took 5 hours to do it. And one big field where I think that's huge is actually graphic design. You know what I mean? So there's graphic designers that are just so good, they can come up with a concept in 1 hour, maybe even less, right? And there's other ones that'll take like 10 hours to come up with that concept. I think the one that took 1 hour to get that concept deserves the world, man. You know, like they're not wasting your time. You know, they're giving you exactly what you want, and that's it. You can apply it to any industry. Art.
Yeah. I think that was the biggest thing too, and I was kind of learning how to price myself and what value it comes out to. And speaking about graphic designers, big shout out to Danielle who made the whole the new Ayoo chill logo and
That's
stuff.
right,
It was
Danielle,
it
yeah.
was a pleasure working with her, bro. She's an angel, bro. She really is.
Yeah.
I love to work with her. Obviously,
She's
you,
cool.
you gave me the link up with you.
I recommend her to everyone. She's great.
Yeah, she was really great, and working with everything. And trust me, I told you I'm a little bit hard to work with when it comes to that because like it's funny. I think like the last thing we did, like and I think what was maybe like I don't know if it was annoying for her because I mean she would have let me know even if it was annoying to her because she's just that
I
great,
doubt it was.
But I had asked her. She gave me the final design. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, can you do this design, but make like 5 other versions of it because I need to compare it to other things for me to know that I want to sit with it. And it would be a week that would go in between us talking because I just needed to sit with it. I needed to fall in love with it. And then what ended up being is like out of all the designs we had, like it was the original first one she gave
Get
me.
out of here.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I could imagine how annoying that was for her, because I was just like, yeah, I like the first one, but I needed the other ones just to be sure, because I'm very much that type of person.
Totally.
I need both. I need just to see it. I need to feel it. I need to sit with it and love it, And I'm very much the type of person, and especially like where I'm at right now is like I don't get it until I love it. You know what I mean? Like I had no problem paying her for her time or whatever. Like it wasn't that to me. It was just like I need to love this, and it needs to be mine, and it needs to be mine. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how it just ended up. But yeah, big shout out to Danielle, bro, because she's incredible. She's great. I loved working with her. If you need a graphic designer, check out my logo. She did that, and she's just great. She's great. I can't wait to see what else she ends up doing, dude, because she has a cool kind of like little story going on too, So it'll be mad interesting to see where she is a year from now.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It'll be great.
I hope she actually gets something recently. I just plugged her in with an agency, actually. So hoping that she actually gets that position, because if she does, like, I can only see her work leveling up even more just a year from now. It's accelerated. You know what I mean? I think everyone should at least intern or work for a bigger agency, at least for a year or so, just to learn how these like really big companies are doing things. Because if you never do that, where are you going to learn these like big practices, these industry level practices? There's only so much you can learn about that, from YouTube or like college classes. Like, bro, when I went to school for this, I already knew everything the professor was talking about. I felt that I could teach the class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It sucks. It's just terrible, but that's another problem that I have, like with the old school system and stuff.
Oh
but
yeah, dude! Don't even get me started on that, because like it could go on there forever. The future is gonna end up being just learning stuff online. I think learning's probably paying through Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptocurrency, whatever. You know what I mean? Like I really think. Because even the stuff I learn now, even most of the stuff I'm learning here is either through you. I mean, like, shout out the lighting is because of you. You know what I mean? You suggested it. Even like, some small camera things, like it's just YouTube University, really what it is at the end of the day. I mean, I left school for audio engineering, and I think I had said this on a podcast before at the news too. Like, as much as my education has given me is literally the mics.
There you go.
Literally the mics and then the audio that's edited after this. That's what I paid for my degree.
Hell yeah.
I didn't learn any lighting. I didn't learn anything about cameras. I mean, did I have the opportunity? Yeah, but like, besides having to take politics class that has nothing to do with what I'm doing, everything else is just learned by hand, by YouTube and all that, and through friends. I think it's a big asset, like you said, to also network, talk to other people who are doing this too, and seeing how you guys could mesh up, and even speak like. And we have some future projects that we still have to get logistics and work on. But I think we'll keep that under wraps for now, because when it gets done and when we put it out,
big. So when that actually comes out, it's gonna make waves.
That'll be fun. So what do you feel right now? So I know you've been networking, linking up in Jersey. Is there anybody in Jersey that you feel like is really doing it up right now, or do you feel like it's still kind of quiet on the East Coast?
Yeah, I know who I'm really watching right now on the East Coast.
East Coast.
That's tough.
I know
that's tough. Because there's a lot of people that I'm watching in Chicago and in like the West Coast, but the East Coast, it's still a little quiet.
Still a little quiet.
However, there is someone actually who I've been watching lately, and it's a photographer whose work I've just admired, right? And I'm actually gonna meet him for the first time this Thursday, because there's this networking event at this photo studio in Jersey City, and his handle is Mute the Wolf.
Mute the Wolf.
Yeah.
What does he do exactly?
So he's a photographer, but his creative concepts are just like insane, right? Like he's doing stuff that I just haven't seen anyone else like here, on the East Coast really doing. So it's just gonna be really interesting to actually meet him and like, exchange ideas at this networking event. So.
You speak a lot about networking and all this stuff. What do you actually do when you meet another creative to like make things actually get the ball rolling with anything? Like what advice would you have for someone to be like, because like I said, even us talking beforehand, we were like, okay, you were like, when after our first podcast, you had talked about like linking up and doing something with me, and admittedly, I was like, I'm good. I want to figure this out by myself, and I was stubborn. And then obviously, I've learned now that like that's not the wave. Collaboration is key, but to my kind of giving myself the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think, well, I don't think anybody is ready to collab, but I literally just didn't know what it looked like, what it would be, you know what I mean, and how it even works. So how does one get into collaboration? What should somebody be going for? Like, how do you even get started on that? What does it look like with you?
All right. So at the very least, what it starts with is actually getting out and going to these events. You know, like putting yourself out there. A lot of people don't really know, but I was a really big kind of introvert, like for the majority of my life. I was that kid that would just like read books, you know, in class. I wouldn't really talk to people unless I was like spoken to. I love people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a people hater. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be doing this if I was a people hater. But once I started really, you know, branching out and forcing myself to actually go to these events and, you know, communicate with people and like step out of my comfort zone, that's when a lot of doors really started opening up. So the biggest thing is to just really like, you know, find an extrovert, you know, find someone who's already really well connected and just reach out to them. Just reach out to them like, hey, if you ever need help with something, let me know. Or even just if you see that they're doing something, just reach out and just be like, hey, I like what you're doing. Next time you do something similar, you know, if you're looking for an assistant, I'm 100% down to help you with that. You know, the biggest thing is to just assist. That's how a lot of collaborations get started. When photographers collaborate, I think the biggest benefit from photographers collaborating is the exchange of concepts. So different artistic concepts, like one collaboration I did in Philadelphia with Chroma Studios. I was actually speaking to her today, actually. What she did is she put together this collaboration with a circus theme. So she invited me and another photographer to come in and collaborate, you know, with these two models, and really just kind of like it's you know, it's like three heads in one, just kind of coming up with, okay, if we have the background like this, if we have the stuff on the ground like the hay, the different props, you know, it's going to be a lot harder for one person to come up with that. But if you have three photographers in the room kind of like come up with these different concepts, the end result is going to be just so much better. So the key is to find people that have similar but different creativity to you, right? You don't want to work with someone who has a really dark and moody style if your style isn't really dark and moody. So it's just finding people whose work that you really like and just reaching out to them. The second biggest thing is to just toss aside your ego. And as artists, everyone has an ego.
Yeah.
Everyone. And some might say that, you know, you need an ego a bit to actually, you know, progress and move forward. I kind of agree with that. I have a bit of an ego, but anytime I'm at a networking event, I put that aside and I say, I love your work. Your shit is amazing. And you just have to be truthful with the compliments. You know, like let it come from your heart. You know, if someone is more skilled than you are, accept that and see how can you learn from that person. Ask them. People love to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing too. Is like everyone loves to talk about themselves. So if you can ask someone a question about themselves and their process, they're already gonna like you. You know, you damn like he expresses or he or she expresses interest in me and my work. Like I love that. I'm gonna talk your ear off. And if you want to hear more about, hey, if you want to come on this shoot, come with this shoot. You know, like come shoot with me. That's it. You just make people feel good about themselves. That's it.
And how do you find these networking events? Like,
Find an extrovert. Find someone who's already well connected. And I guarantee, like, even if you live under a rock, you're gonna know someone that knows somebody. So just ask. Just ask around. Hey, are there any events going on? Anyone that looks like they're kind of connected, just send them a DM. That's it. That's all I do. And then now, once I follow these different pages and these different people, you're exposed to all these networking events. They get posted on people's stories and stuff. Recently, there was one with this one called American Meta, which I had no idea who they were until like different people that I knew started kind of like promoting.
Can we listen? The camera's being weird or whatever is heating up, but this is something that I've been wanting to talk about. I don't know how deep we could get into this because actually we were supposed to meet like probably beforehand to talk about this. And if it's not appropriate to talk about here, that's totally cool. But can we talk about American Metal a little bit?
We can talk about them a little bit.
So the whole concept kind of was confusing me before because so my reaction to it is okay, someone's trying to do something really different in Jersey and especially around our area. So first of all, it was in the Art Factory. Art Factory's in Patterson. Anything big that's happening in Patterson, well, there's nothing really big that happens in Patterson. I really find that, I mean, like, there's some cool underground stuff. There's people who have come out like recently. You have artists like Fetty Wap who have came out and done big things. You have people like for example, there's this one girl called Way McDonald who won second place on The Voice, which is really cool. There's also a DJ from Patterson as well. Her name is DJ Naya Badass. She
I love Naya.
Yeah, dude. She travels with Jack Harlow. She's her DJ and she also does her own thing. She's absolutely incredible as well. I mean, there's
shoot actually.
Yeah. Actually, that's so dope. That's so dope. Yeah, that's cool. Because because she's well connected with also the rapper who I had on here before, Winter Break. Like he's good with her, and actually the poet I had also too is like one of her friends as well, Jace the poet. He Fly Swatter Jace. They all connect. So it's weird. I feel like right now our generation that has been kind of growing up, specifically around our age group, has been seeing like the biggest come ups out of Patterson, out of Passaic County, out of North Jersey. And I feel like if there's any time for us to really expand and do something special, it's now more than ever. And so I see this Art Factory thing happening.
Oh yeah.
And I see all these people going to the Art Factory. I'm not gonna lie, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, who's paying for this? It looks well produced. What do they want? Those were the biggest questions. I remember I was telling you this, bro, and it was really freaking me out because I was like, because I'm thinking, I was like, what outside source put money into this? And is it an outside source? Is a person who's in Jersey? And I was like, because this takes a lot. It's not easy to put on an event together like that, and it's not easy to put on an event together like that without any funding. So whose money is it coming from? How did they raise the money? And why? I think also a little bit ego too, because I'm just like, why don't I know anybody who is doing this? Because then I was getting tagged in some of their posts and stuff, and I was like, "Who is this?" And I'm very, very cautious with this stuff because I hate when stuff looks kind of culty. And did it not look culty? I'm sorry, whoever's running like American Meta, like
a little bit.
It looked because everybody was like
bit.
America. They were like I forget what everybody was putting on their Instagram posts, but they were just like American Meta hashtag. He's like, I'm all in, all this stuff, and I was just like, hold up.
This is like Herbalife, bro.
I was like, let's take a second. You know what I mean? Because
all the Monet ambassadors in Jersey.
Yeah. It felt like one of those. What did those people? Oh, I'm 1500 platinum now. Join my thing. You know what I mean? We're doing a conference in Chicago. Like that's the vibe it gave me at first.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because of that's how the promotion was. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like it was how it had to be, but it was just such a new thing to see. And people that I know going to it. And then when you told me you were in it too, I was like, oh, nah, he's in the cult. It's over.
Nah,
it's over.
Right.
Over. They got him.
Nah, bro. It was so strange because I actually saw this through a mutual friend's story, right? Because she posted it. So I went ahead and I checked it out. I was like, what is this? I was like, this is the second person that I see post this, and I have no idea what the hell American Meta is or like, what this stands for, what this means, like what they're doing. So I led me to their website, and it literally just had an application form on it. It says, like, what's your name? What's your Instagram handle? And that's it, right? So I was like, okay, whatever. Like, this isn't going to cost me anything. So I went ahead and I sent it. Last thing I heard from them, right? Then I ended up getting an email on, like, a Saturday morning or something. And it says, congratulations, like, you have been accepted into
congratulations, you've been accepted,
something like that. Like I'm not really too familiar on the exact wording, but it's something like
like for me, it's like, who are you saying that? That's what comes. I'm sorry. That's what comes into my
Yeah, yeah,
mind.
yeah.
All right. So you get this email.
So I get
Congratulations.
this email saying, "Congratulations, yeah, you've been invited." Um, and I'm like, "Okay, let's see what I've been invited to." And they actually put in the email that the event was actually that night. So I ended up getting the confirmation of the event literally on the day of the event.
Hmm.
So that was a little fishy.
That's strange. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I have a bunch of red flags going up right now.
especially being an art factory,
Uh huh.
right? But because I know someone who was promoting it, I was like, all right. I mean, I guess it can't be that bad.
And
And I
I assume like you trust this person that you know too, right?
kind of, yeah, like
Somewhat. Yeah, yeah.
somewhat,
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna actually go to this event. I'm gonna dress up, I'm gonna look kind of good, whatever, and see who's there. And I've been to the Art Factory before, but I've never been there like at night, and much less for an event like this. So I went in there not knowing what to expect at all. Like I was going in blind, basically. I didn't know anyone else that got invited. I couldn't invite anyone else. I couldn't have any plus one because there was a list. So it was really just taking a risk to do this on a Saturday night. But your boy didn't have anything else to do. So
Hey, sometimes
it was,
sometimes how it be.
yeah, man. So I went. I walked in. I got there pretty early. It was empty, but they had free drinks. And I was like, I like a little jungle juice.
Yeah,
So I
hell
had
yeah.
some jungle juice, and there was a DJ and they were playing music, and then this place started filling up and filling up and filling up. And I believe that there might have been probably about 300 people at that event.
That's a good amount. That's a healthy amount of people.
Yes.
It's a very healthy amount of people.
It was a large amount of people. And I ended up realizing after meeting multiple people at the event, I think I went up to maybe like 30, 40 people. So I was taking advantage of the networking aspect of it. And every single person that was there had a decent following, or they were at least a creative that was doing something unique. Whether they were an artist, musically, or artistically with like painting, or a photographer, videographer. And it was dope because I had never been part of something like that in Jersey.
And it was Jersey based people too, right?
It was Jersey-based people.
Sweet.
So I was like, wow, I love this. There was music, drinks, and it literally just had everything that I could ever really kind of ask for in an event like that. And hats off to them. Like they threw a killer event, and I really made some genuine connections there, and people that I've actually worked with a few times, since I met there. They're doing a really big thing for Jersey, and I'm really surprised that something like this hasn't been done before. But I'm looking forward to seeing if anyone else makes something comparable.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's kind of the goal, to kind of make more of a community, because there are dope people in Jersey. Like, I feel like people think that there's non-creatives in Jersey, like there isn't like cool things happening here. I hate. Yeah, go ahead.
One thing I will say though, something that was extremely unique to that event was that there was no centralized person. So
Interesting.
with American Meta, I was looking for the host or the event organizer, and it was actually a little more difficult than I anticipated to actually find out who it was that was actually like running it or who started it. And I think that made it really unique because anyone who really would make an event like this would want their name all over it, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
They'd want the clout from it.
because like, why else are you putting this up?
Exactly.
What are you getting out of this? Like,
And
you're
I
giving
want
to
to
the
know
people.
what they got out of it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. To this day, I'm not sure.
How much money do you think it took to put on an event like that?
So I think that the organizers of American Meta, I think that they actually have space within the Art Factory. So when you rent a space in the Art Factory, you have access to the rest of the factory. So I'm thinking it might have not cost that much, but you really need a large network to pull off an event of that magnitude. So this is someone who's really well connected.
Yeah, because it's like, I've put on events like that before. I've put on events at halls. Hosted stuff through like, for example, like for fraternity stuff. And even putting on small events like that. having delegation of who is taking care of drinks, who's taking care of this, having everybody do that, because it's sometimes it's not as simple as just putting shit out there and like
Yeah.
letting it happen. You know, if
No,
you
no
have
way.
like even the DJ has to be paid for his time. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Someone has to pay for the refreshments. Someone has to pay for how that's all getting together. Also, the time it takes to be in the art factory. You know what I mean? Like, because I know that place gets rented out by other people, and you're talking about a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Saturday night is prime time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's where you could be making actual money.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to pay for that type of slot. If it's a Wednesday, Tuesday night, who the fuck cares? You know, it's interesting. It's very interesting, and I want to see what's the next move because, like I said, I saw a lot
We're
of
all watching.
yeah. We're all watching. We're all watching American Mag, even though I can't look at you right now because the fucking camera. I'm actually gonna try to turn the camera on for the last because we're running on towards the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
There's one thing I did want to talk about, unless you had one thing.
Oh, goes. Go ahead.
We'll get this last question in here out of the stuff that you sent me.
Oh, boy.
I don't think there's one thing that I found interesting that I feel like people would get a good advice on, especially since you've been through it. Firing clients. Yeah.
Oh man, I forgot we were gonna talk about that.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, like
So-
it's tough. It's tough.
It's tough. It's really tough, and it's even tougher speaking on it, especially knowing that a few of those clients might actually listen to this podcast. So I'm not gonna name any names. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
of
it's gonna
course.
be
No, no, no.
very it's gonna be very general advice. So
Can I ask
go ahead.
a
and
beginning
yeah,
question?
Go ahead.
Why would you even fire a client? Why would you even consider it?
Respect, right? So ideally, your clients should respect you, right? They should respect your time, but they should also value you. You know. So one of the big things, and you'll really realize that you need to fire a lot of clients once you learn your value. You know. So that's one of the things that came with me kind of like awakening to the value that I really provide my clients is, damn, like I'm making these videos or these photos, and it's providing so much value to these clients, and I'm still getting paid the same amount. You know what I mean? And I could be gaining more from working with other clients that really value my time the way that it should be valued, you know, or valuing the creativity the way that it should be valued. So anytime that you're in a position where you don't really need the money as much anymore and you can really gain from the extra time that you'll have from firing a client, that's when you should fire a client.
That's really well said. So
Mhm.
then, how do you go then about
Actually doing it.
the actual deed?
Oh
Yes.
man. So the way I do it, I just raise my prices. So even if, for example, if there's a client that's it just doesn't really value you that much, you raise your prices and that should usually do it. However, sometimes there's a client that has a lot of money to spend, and it's not that the budget isn't there, it's that the client is just a real pain in the ass, and I've also had those clients. With them, the way you fire that client is, hey, I don't think I really have enough time to work on, the stuff for you anymore. However, I have a recommendation for you. So that's the really big thing, right? And that's where you can really earn brownie points with other creatives. And that's why networking is really good. It's because anytime that you're firing a client, that creates a hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that client is then going to need a videographer or a photographer or, whatever service that you provide. So if you can plug them with another person, guess who's going to be really thankful? That other person. You know what I mean? Maybe they're not going to really care that much that client is a pain, or maybe they're at a stage in their career where they can't really charge that much for what they do yet, and they're going to be really thankful for that, and they're going to remember that. And that's how networking really works. That's how you cultivate relationships, is you have to pass the bread around. You know what I mean? Don't just think about yourself in these situations, also think about how you can help someone else. Because once you really start thinking about how you can help other people, then they're going to start thinking about how they can help you. So there's a social media manager that I started working with where anytime a client needs something but they can't really afford my services, I just refer it out to her, right? And since then, she's already referred me to these other clients and stuff. And do you think she would have done that if I didn't share that bread from her, to begin with? Probably not. She would be like, oh, who cares? Like, whatever. He's fine.
It's like a little symbiotic relationship.
Exactly.
For sure.
So, you can also benefit from firing clients other than gaining your time back. You can also strengthen relationships. And then that previous client is also happy with you, saying, oh, what a great guy. Even though he fired us, he still hooked us up with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And that's a real big important part, right? Not just leaving your client hanging, but also
I never leave a client hanging.
Exactly. It's super important. I think that's kind of nailing it right on the head with that too. Because if you don't do that, you know what I mean, then they're gonna be like, all right, damn, like then fuck you.
Yeah.
I think cultivating relationships and making sure no matter what, because I mean, even saying it like that, like firing a client, it does sound kind of harsh,
It does.
But business,
corporations and businesses fire people all the time, and they don't care. But when you're running your own business and your own company, these relationships matter. Your standing, your social standing is so important because especially in an industry like this, if you have a bad social standing, no one's going to want to work with you. No one's going to want to hire you. No one's going to want to collaborate with you. You just got to be a good guy. Just be a good person. Think about other people. Think how you can help them. That's the biggest thing.
Leo, a pleasure having you on the podcast, bro. Literally waiting. I'm sorry. I apologize for the camera. I'm embarrassed because you're literally the camera guy, so I'm a little embarrassed. But dude,
it's all right.
Any last advice, words for anybody who is trying to do what you are doing now?
Reach out to me. Reach out to me if you have any specific questions. You could really go down a real rabbit hole and just talk and talk and talk and talk. And unfortunately, we don't really have as much time, anymore to actually like answer those questions. I think I honestly like covered a lot of good points, today.
Amazing points, yeah. For sure.
If there's anything honestly that extra that I didn't cover, I'm always available. What about you? Do you have any other questions that maybe?
I think, dude, I honestly, number one, I owe you a third podcast. 100% I owe you a third podcast because I think there's so much more information
Brother,
we could talk.
I love
questions.
being on your podcast, man.
I appreciate it, bro.
You're an amazing host.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate it, dude. There's so much love coming from your side. I can't imagine at any point next year, like it not being double of what we're doing now, dude. Like I'm proud of you. It's an honor to even have you on, talk to you, speak to you. I love seeing the growth and just what we've been through too, man. It's an absolute blessing. And of course, we got some future projects that we gotta get rolling.
100%,
stuff too, dude. Please let the people know where they can find you. Plug your Insta, plug your work, your website, everything.
All right, guys. So you can find me on Instagram at Views by Elos, VIEWSBYELOSE, as well as LinkedIn at Leo Justiniano. Oh, big thing, right? I haven't been on LinkedIn at all, right? I finally made a LinkedIn in January, and it's crazy that I haven't been on it because it's literally the networking site for business professionals.
Yeah.
If you're not on LinkedIn, bro, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Get on LinkedIn.
It's crazy. Are you on LinkedIn yet?
I'm talking to my future self right now. Get your ass on LinkedIn. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? This man has told you months ago. I'm showing them my hair.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm going to tell you before, and I'm going to tell you again, bro. Get on LinkedIn because it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It's going to allow you to get direct to the people that you want to talk to.
Yeah, you're right. Guys, y'all know the business. Ayoo Chill Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Go follow me on there. Show some love. Go show some love to my boy, bro.
Go follow him.
And basically, we'll see you next week. We got a mad interesting podcast for you guys next week. Share these posts on everything. But guys, that has been it. Thank you again for coming, dude. Absolute blessings, bro. Let's get the fuck out of here, dude.
All right, bro. Let's go.